good morning. This week we are going to be doing a gluten-free, sugar-free carrot cake. This is one of my all-time favorite desserts. It's so light, it's so moist, it does not feel like you're eating anything healthy at all, but you are. So we are working with gluten-free flour, and we're also going to be working with gluten-free, sugar-free oats. If you are gluten intolerant, be careful with the oatmeal. Make sure it's a gluten-free oatmeal. Sometimes it's a multigrain and they have other grains in there that are not gluten-free. So don't assume that just because oats are gluten-free on their own, that any oatmeal is gluten-free. So just make sure you're double checking that the oats are all by themselves or that it's a gluten-free oatmeal. So that's what we're working with for our flour. We're gonna be blending the oats to make our own flour. So that's kind of fun and it's a little bit different. You're gonna be working with eggs. We've got the Walden's caramel syrup for our yummy flavoring. We're working with, I can't believe it's not butter instead of oil, vanilla extract, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, baking powder, baking soda. We're using Truvia. And then for our frosting, we're using cream cheese, allulose, which is another sweetener, and we're using a heavy whipping cream. We will be making on our own along with our carrots and our walnuts. So first things first, we're gonna work with our liquids. We're gonna be mixing our sugar, which is our Truvia, our egg, our vanilla extract, our I can't believe it's not butter, and our Walden's caramel syrup together. Make sure there's no shells in there. The only crunch we want in our bread is the walnuts. Also, I have preset the oven to 350, so when we are ready, we'll pop it in a preheated oven. I'm gonna go ahead and put a cup of Truvia in. We're doing 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. We are doing the whole bottle of I can't believe it's not butter. And we're doing a half cup of the Walden's caramel syrup. Perfect. And we're gonna go ahead and whisk this together. So we're whisking our liquids together. Okay, everything's nice and blended. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our solids in another bowl. So what we're doing is we're doing 1 cup of the gluten-free flour, and then we're gonna do 1 cup of oats. The oats really just add a nice rounded flavor. You don't have to do the oats if you don't want. You can stick with 2 cups of gluten-free flour. Totally your call. So I'm gonna measure out a cup of the oats. And we're gonna put them in our blender. I have a Vitamix. I love Vitamix. You can make soups in this. You can make ice cream in this, sherbet. Okay. I'm gonna put it on high to make sure it's all pulverized. And ta-da! our oat flour. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that right in our bowl, in our mixing bowl. And we don't waste, so I'm gonna make sure I get everything out of this blender. Because what's the point of measuring if you're not using everything? Boom. We're gonna keep the blender out because we're gonna use it for our carrots. All right, so we got our oats in there. We're gonna go ahead and measure out our flour for another cup. This does not have to be sifted. Flour in there. Okay. Now we're going to add our baking soda and our baking powder. We're doing two teaspoons of each. Make sure you level it out. You don't want a mountain of it. Make sure it's pretty accurate. The baking powder. Next is baking soda. And these are teaspoons. I'm using not tablespoons. That would be a big mistake. You would taste it pretty quickly. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and add our spices now. I choose not to add salt to it. You can, if you wanted to do like a half teaspoon, you can do that. I don't. So the cinnamon, we're gonna use 1 tablespoon. We're going to use 1/4 teaspoon. And our allspice, we're going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and mix this together. Now we have our flour nice and mixed. Smells yummy. And we're gonna add our liquids to it. Little by little, we're gonna mix it in while I'm stirring the flour. And I'm just gonna make sure that I get everything in that bowl. There's a lot left in there. You want to make sure you scrape off all the sides. We need it all. Perfect. Okay, so now we're mixing again with a whisk. Make sure everything is nice and mixed. And next we're going to blend our 2 cups of carrots. We're going to save some of the carrots for the top of our cake for aesthetic. Same with the walnuts. We're gonna put the majority of the walnuts and carrots inside of the batter, but we'll save some to sprinkle on top once the cake is frosted. All right, no lumps, no bumps, nice and smooth, the way we want it. I'm gonna set that aside for a minute. So I measured out 2 cups of carrots. I use baby carrots for this because it's just easier instead of buying the full carrots, which you could do, and you can chop them and then you can throw them in. Totally up to you. So I will put my 2 cups of carrots in the blender, and I'm gonna pulse this. If I let it go continuous, they might get mushy. So I pulse this to keep it nice and chopped. go through, you might get like a big chunk like that. So I'll take that out. So just kind of go through, make sure that you have you take any of the bigger pieces out, but for the majority, you're gonna get a nice shredded carrot. You can, I guess, buy shredded carrots, but I'm so accustomed to doing things myself that I don't. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save about 1/4 cup of the carrots, which I'm using my eye, but it'll be about 1/4 cup for the top of the carrot cake. The rest I'm gonna go ahead and add in. Here's my magic spoon. Oh, I have another magic spoon here. And I call it a magic spoon because it gets everything out of this blender. No waste, right? No waste at all. And next, with the walnuts, it's up to you what kind of consistency you like. I kind of like biting into a full-on walnut. If you prefer to chop them a bit, you can. You can even crush them by hand. It's be up to you. All right. We got most of our carrots in there. I'm gonna go to mix them in. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is, I think it is the best carrot cake I have ever had. So you're looking at this size walnut if you wanted that. That's how I prefer it, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull aside maybe about 1/4 cup for the topping. The rest I'm gonna put in. Mix them in. Boom, we have our batter. So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna spray this. I use a butter spray, super easy, non-stick. Spray the sides and the bottom. Close-up of what our batter looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and get that in. This is a 9x9 baking tray, so it's pretty perfect. We're gonna bake the bread for about 40 minutes on 350, uncovered. To get any air bubbles out, we're gonna slam this down. Make sure any of the air bubbles rise to the top. And now we're gonna pop this baby in the oven. I will see you when it comes out. While we have our cake baking, we're gonna work on our frosting. So frosting is super easy, believe it or not. We're gonna use heavy whipping cream and we're gonna whip this baby up. Once it's whipped, we're gonna add our cream cheese. We're gonna whip again. We're gonna add some vanilla and some allulose for a little bit of a sweetener. And then we're gonna put it in the refrigerator. So super easy. We're gonna use 2 cups of the heavy whipping cream. Exactly. And when we whip this, if you've never done this before, it gets nice and thick. And this is how you can make your own whipped cream, heavy whipping cream. I mean, before I did it, I never knew that. So it's pretty cool. So we're gonna put it on high for about 6 minutes. See it getting a little thicker. So you're turning the bowl. It's getting thicker. Okay, so we're 3 minutes in. This is the consistency now, which is perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and add our cream cheese in. That's our cup of cream cheese. We're gonna go ahead and add our half cup of allulose. And we're gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're gonna continue blending. And we have our yummy, yummy cream cheese frosting that is ready. I'm gonna go and cover this in saran wrap, put it in the refrigerator, and then we have our walnuts and our carrots ready to top once we pull the carrot cake out of the oven and once it cools. Hang tight. Just pulled this baby out of the oven. It is ready. So I'm gonna wait for it to cool for about 10 minutes. I'll pop it out of this tray, and then I'm gonna wait another hour for it to really cool, and then I'll frost it and pop it in the fridge. Our cake has now cooled down. We're gonna go ahead and flip it out of the pan and get it onto our tray or plate. Whatever you're gonna use to serve it and frost it, I'm gonna use this plate. We're gonna flip it. Ooh la la, perfect. We're gonna grab our frosting that was in the fridge. Now you can make this as pretty and as precise as you want, or you can have it run down the sides. It is totally up to you. All right, and now we are done frosting the cake. I'm gonna go ahead and crush these walnuts by hand just to sprinkle them on top. And this is optional. You can add more, you can add less. You don't have to sprinkle any at all. And we're gonna add our carrots that we chopped earlier. And we're gonna add just a dash of cinnamon. Again, this is optional. And we're gonna add a little bit of our Walden's caramel syrup that we used earlier. We're gonna just drizzle that on. And there you have it. Darcy's homemade gluten-free, sugar-free carrot cake. Enjoy.